Well, hello, Hannah.
Hi, Vicki. How are you?
Good. I'm hoping that this helps other people in the county also. I was talking to my neighbor and she was talking about you and being a doula, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, I
So
feel like a lot of people don't really know what that is, so it's kind of a newer thing.
yeah, so do you want to start out just kind of giving us a rundown of what a doula does? And then I would like to go into a little bit about your history and that too, or if you want to fit that in, but your whole story is interesting.
Okay, well, I'll try. So a doula is a childbirth professional, and we provide educational, emotional, and physical support through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. So I guess my passion really is supporting women through all stages of life. Like I would love to do that, but especially birth. And just, I think sometimes it can be, especially if it's your first pregnancy, it can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of information, kind of trying to figure out what applies to you and what you want your birth to look like. Thankfully, it is 9 months long, so I feel like it's a bit of a journey, but just someone to walk through that with you alongside your husband and dad. We love to include them on that because I think to them too, it can be kind of scary and overwhelming. Like, I want to support my partner, my wife, but how do I do that? So that's one of my favorite jobs, is to help guide them to do that, so that when it does come to birth and postpartum, that their wife feels less alone and just very encouraged through that process.
So, when I was talking to you, and, there's a little, a doula and a midwife. Can you give me just kind of a short, there's a difference. You told
Yeah.
me that.
Yeah. So probably the biggest difference is midwives can deliver babies. We don't. We don't do. I would say midwives and OBs are a lot more similar than doulas and midwives. So we're purely there to provide support, not medical support, to mom and dad. So the midwife is going to be providing that support, but also like delivering the babies. Midwives are similar to OBs, as they can deliver babies. They're not trained usually for high risks, and they can't do like cesareans. And then another difference would be midwives can deliver at home births where OBs can't, kind of a thing. So they're a lot more like OBs than doulas are. So we're strictly just there for the emotional and physical support.
And you, when we talked yesterday, you lived in Australia when you had two of your babies, right?
Actually, just one.
Just the one? Okay.
Yeah, just the one. And then we moved back here about when I was like 30 weeks pregnant. So the last two have been in America. Yeah.
I can certainly see why that first one really made you think of that. We're so used to having family close by, so we can, run over and talk to someone or do something. So tell me a little bit about that.
So I guess that's where, yeah, it probably first, this thought came to mind. I didn't know what a doula was at the time, but just through that experience, I thought I knew a lot about birth. I thought I was prepared. I kind of thought like, I'm tough, like I can do this all by myself. I went to a childbirth class. So I thought I was ready to go, but in my mind, I was ready to go for if my birth went a certain way, and birth can be quite unpredictable. So after that birth experience, I realized that I had a bit of birth trauma, and I didn't quite know what to do with that. It took me a while to label it as that, because I was kind of like, oh, your birth was fine. But it kind of stopped me from wanting to have a baby for quite a while. So that was another reason I wanted to help women, is because I think if we give them more support and more education, so that they feel more empowered through their birth. And it can be this wonderful experience that carries over to postpartum, which can be, it's such a wonderful time with your new baby, but can be really hard and really lonely. So if we're setting moms up to have a wonderful postpartum experience, then we're just setting them up to thrive as a mom. And I think that's really what all women would like to do.
So how long do your services generally last after birth?
So right now I'm purely a birth doula. There are postpartum doulas.
Oh,
Um, I would like to do that someday, but right now I just have 4 little ones, so that's not really in the cards. So after you give birth, I will meet with you at your house for a postpartum visit within 10 days, and I'm available also through text and call support. And that postpartum visit just looks like, see how mom is doing physically and mentally, if she needs any resources in the community, because you're kind of in a daze, like you don't even really know what day it is. So just maybe resources they don't know that are available, or this is wrong, what would you suggest for this? And then I think just having that text and call support, like if something pops up and they're not sure, should I be bothering my provider with this? Should I be waiting till I see my provider? They're great and they can answer so many questions, but some of them, maybe they don't need to bother them with them, and they can just reach out and ask me about that.
that's awesome. So when you were looking at getting into this, you know, what kind of classes or, what type of research, what all has gone into where you are right now in this?
Um, I would say firstly, like just a lot of my experience, all 3 of my births have been very different. So it's just been a lot of kind of me discovering like what I needed, and like I feel like there was a point where I was like, okay, this is just how birth is. But then I just kept digging and doing my own research and stuff. So just some of that knowledge, lots of reading. And then in September, I did do like a training course online that was 20 hours. And so then I was able to become certified with this. Not everyone is, it's kind of your choice. You don't have to be certified, but that was just something that I wanted to do. And I really liked that. And I learned a lot of information. So,
Well, if you don't mind getting real personal or a little more personal, for the people out there, when you say they were 3 totally different births, from just your own experience, can you kind of recap each of those to let people know what you have actually gone through besides the training?
yeah. So my first birth was in Australia. And that one ended up being an induction, and I had an epidural. So that was its own thing, being induced, having an epidural. I had the next birth was unmedicated, but it was also in a hospital. And then my last one was a home birth. And my midwife actually didn't make it in time for that one. So
Oh,
my mom was there. So if you're in Tiny
yay
Med,
for mom!
so but I like just telling people that story. They might think my third birth was like the scariest, the most traumatic, but it actually wasn't for me. I loved it. I felt very empowered, and I think a lot of that had to do with I had so much knowledge, and I knew a lot of information about each scenario. And sometimes you read things and like the headline of it sounds really scary, but when you dig down deeper to it and you look into the research and the percentages, it tells a lot more about the story. So I just felt totally at peace what was happening. I knew my body was doing what it needed to do, and I wasn't scared, and like my recovery was better. And of all 3 of the births, I think I experienced less of that postpartum blues. So I think that's the other thing, like my most peaceful, empowered birth was at home. But everyone's is different. Someone might feel totally safe and best in the hospital, and that's wonderful. So I am just here to support women wherever they want to be and discover where that is. And I think that's, yeah, I just want women to know, like, you can have a wonderful birth if you have a cesarean, if you have an induction. I just want people to have the information and feel supported with whatever choice they're choosing.
And you do go if they choose to have a hospital or a home birth, you're available if they'd like you to be there through that process also?
Yep, either one. Like I would,
Yeah.
yep, happy and
I
love
would
to.
imagine it really varies from one to another as far as is how much and when you're needed or by each person.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about being a doula is that there's early labor when you're not quite ready to go to the hospital if you're choosing to have a hospital birth, and I can come to your home and help support you through that. So I think especially those first time moms, you're just so excited and you are like, is it ready to go? Am I ready to go? And then you'll go to the hospital and sometimes birth will stall because you're in a new environment, and it doesn't always stall, but sometimes, and you just get so excited, but and you're just ready to go. But I think that's one thing that I could do is I could help support you at home where you're more comfortable and birth will continue. And so you feel safe there. And then whenever you're ready and I can talk you through and the steps of that, then we can lead you to hospital and then you can continue your laboring there.
I just think this is an amazing service.
Thank
Um, Quite a number of years ago, I could have really used somebody like you.
I know I'm always like, I think a lot of women can. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I do honestly think that every woman does deserve a doula. I think sometimes us women or moms were like, oh, we don't need that. Like, that's okay. I can do this. And you definitely can do it. But I think it's okay to allow yourself that extra support if you need that, and to set yourself up for a great birth and a great postpartum experience. Um, I just, I love supporting women, and I just makes me a little sad when women are just like, no, I don't need that. Like, just because of maybe money or stuff like that, they're just like, it's okay, I'll be all right. And then sometimes, not always, later on they're like, oh, that could have been better, or I wish I would have had that, or I wish I had more support. So just kind of like trying to white knuckle it through. And I
Yeah.
just want women to know, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, birth can be a wonderful, beautiful thing and that I'm here to support them if they would like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of perception, you know, it's like, well, anybody can do this. And, we just go in, we go to the hospital, we have this baby, everything's great when we get home because everyone does it. There's no, and it's kind of like, no, it doesn't have to be like that. You can have someone to talk it through, and it's different for each person. And I really think this is an amazing service. I'm surprised that I understand now that I've talked to more people that this is something that's offered more in larger towns. I just
Yeah,
had, I'm glad that you're bringing it here so
thank
that
you.
we have that, service available here too.
Yeah, it's nice to, yeah, I think it's very popular in, yeah, probably like in Minneapolis and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I was like, well, I could have used that. I think women around here could use that. And so if they would like the opportunity to have one, I would like to be able to provide it for them.
And I want to touch on one more thing for sure, that you provide. And my neighbor, Rochelle Hansen, she had mentioned this to me, which I thought was super cool, that you are offering to provide your services if there is a teen pregnancy out there, I think like within 60 miles or something like
Yeah.
that,
Hmm.
that you would you would be their doula at no charge to help them through that. Tell me a little bit about that. And I just think that's amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, I am pretty pro-life, and so in the past couple of years, I've realized that that goes beyond supporting the unborn, and along with supporting women, like if we want to be having these women carry their babies to birth, that they're going to need support doing that, and they're probably going to need the most support because their support system may or may not look like mine. So I was trying to think of ways that I could put actions into my words. So yeah, I would really love if there's a teen in the community who is having a baby and she would like a little bit more support, and a doula might be something she's interested in. I would love to, yes, free of charge, be able to provide that for her and just be another extra support through the process and just make it as wonderful as it can be for her.
That is awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on that I'm not thinking of?
I don't think so. Just if a doula is something you're interested in, you can reach out to me and we can set up a free consultation. And I don't want people to be kind of like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I have to book with her. Like, that's not what it is. I am more than happy to just sit down and have a cup of coffee with you and talk about birth and what your desires for that is. And if you walk away and you're like, this isn't something I'm interested in, like, that is totally not a problem at all. I'm just purely wanting to support women through this phase of their life. And that brings me a lot of joy. So if that's something you're interested, feel free to reach out.
Sounds great. And I'll include your links to your information on this video. So they will have your contact information. And thank you so much for sitting down with me today. Like I said, I was just like, what is a doula? So I thought maybe somebody else out there might wonder too. So
my grandma's ass. So
yes, I would be about that age. So your grandma's age.
Thank you,
All
Vicky.
right.
I really appreciate you taking this time to interview me and giving me more of a voice and just helping me get out more in the community. So I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Thanks, Vicky.